Hi, here's my maths walkthrough of 3263 dependent events. Okay, so we've got you have a purse with 38 quarters and you have 27 coins from European coins, Euro coins. Without a look at your pull two at random, you've got to fill in the tree diagram. So we've got going up here the quarters. Now the first thing I want to know is how many quarters I've got to start with. So that's just going to be 28 and 37. Sorry, 38 plus 27, which is 65. So you've got 65 coins to begin with there. So the number of quarters you've got is 38 out of 65, and the number of Euro coins you've got is 27 out of the 65 coins you've got altogether. So I'll put them on the diagram. Then I go to the next level up, and what you have to know here is what's happened in the first level. So at the first level I took a quarter out. That means I've only got 37 quarters left, and I've only got out of the 64 coins that are left in the pocket. So you've got to be paying particular attention to what's actually happened. And this is what happens with dependent events. In the dependent events, the numbers on the bottom is the same, but it has no effect. But in dependent events, you've got to know where you are on the tree. So I've taken out a quarter. I haven't taken out any euros, so I've still got all 27 euros. But I have only chosen out of 64 because I took one of the quarters out. So that's why that's gone down to 64. It's not 65 still. When I go to this thing, so when I come down this branch, this is saying you've taken out a Euro coin. So the quarters, you haven't touched your quarters. So you've got 38 quarters still in your pocket at this point, out of the 64 coins, which is still in your pocket now because you've taken one out. So it's went down to 65. And when I come down to this branch, I've now only got 26 euros left because I took one out here, out of the 64 coins. Okay, now that's the tree diagram actually finished. However, I always like to finish the tree diagram to a next level, and the next level is just go along the branch and see what you've got. So if I go along this branch, I've got Q and Q, so a quarter and then another quarter. This one was a quarter and a Euro coin. This was the Euro coin and the quarter, so it's quite straightforward to do this. And then EE is 2 Euro coins. Okay. And then the other thing I like to do is put the probability at the end. Now I always tell people always do this because this is actually only worth about 2 marks in exams, in the follow-up questions where all the marks are. And these are bits that are going to get me the follow-up marks. So QQ, QE, EQ, EE, and then the probability at the end. And all you do for the probability is times them together. Now you don't want to cancel anything down, so on your calculator just do 38 times 37, 38 times 37, 146, over, and the bottom is 65 times 64, 65 times 64, 4160. And you should always do this on your tree diagram. So 38 times 27 to get this next one. 38 times 27 is 1026 over 65 times 64, you did earlier, 4160. 27 times 38 is 38 times 27, same thing, so 1026 over 4160. And the last one, 27 times 26 is 702 over 4160. And really that's, for me, that's a completed tree diagram now, where I have what's happened and what's the probability of that thing happening at the end. Okay. Now the follow-up questions you'll see are fairly straightforward now. So I've got probability of EE. Now you'll notice on MyMaths it doesn't allow you to do this thing at the end, and it's why I like drawing these out, because on MyMaths it doesn't let you do that, because in the exams you're only getting marks for that bit on the tree diagram. We are getting 6 marks for that, which is a bit random, because normally you're only going to get 2 marks for doing these questions, and then all your other marks are coming from this bit. But I would do this on paper so you can get these 2 bits, because probability of EE is just this number here, and we worked out earlier, and we don't have to think about it, we can just write it out. So it is 702 over 4160. You don't have to cancel down probability, so I'm happy with that one. Probability of EQ, probability EQ, just look up, it is there, EQ is 1026 over 4160. Notice that it says E then Q. E then Q is different to Q then E. So you don't combine with anything, you just pick on that one. And the last bit is the probability it's going to be a match. Now for a match, you're going to have EE or you're going to have QQ. And now when we do this OR bit, we just add these 2 things together, and when you add fractions, as long as the bottoms are the same, you can just add the top and leave the bottom alone. So I've got 1406 plus 702 is 2108. So that's 2108 over the 4160. Adding fractions doesn't change the bottom. As long as the bottoms are the same, you add the top. And that's all the first question is. So these answers here are actually very, very straightforward if you've done this exercise where you write down what you get, QQ, and then you multiply. So 30 times 37, 146, 65 times 64, 4160, and then just do that all the way down the bottom. Okay. Don't on your calculator put this fraction in times by this fraction, because what your calculator will do, it'll work out the answer and it'll cancel it down. And then when you cancel fractions down, what you'll find is that they might not all cancel to the same denominator. So this number on the bottom might be different for all of them, and you don't want that. You want a number on the bottom to be the same all the time because of this case where you've got to add them together. So for a match, you needed to add EE to QQ, and to add fractions, you want the bottom numbers to be the same, so you can just add the top. You don't have to cancel probabilities down. Okay. Now the second question I thought was harder. Oops, I've got it on my screen, so there it is there on the screen now, on my screen anyway. So I've got this driving test where you've got a probability of passing with some lessons. So there's the lessons. This L dash is mathematical, this little dash means not. So that means not L, okay, so you're not going to get lessons. It's a bit of a complicated notation, I guess. Could put F, I guess, if you wanted to. We've got pass and not pass is there. Okay, so let's read the question, because the important bit of maths is always reading. The probability of passing, P, of a driving it with some lessons. So I've done some lessons and I'm passing, and the probability of getting that is an X. So I'm going to put an X there. And without lessons is 0.36, so 0.36 is going to go here. And 57% of students take lessons, and at 57% I'm immediately going to change to decimals, because that's in decimals. So 57% take lessons, so 0.57 is going to be the decimal for that one, for taking lessons. And then I can fill in the rest of this tree. Now, if 57% take lessons, the number who don't take lessons is 43%, so that's 0.43. Pass and not pass, pass and fail. These two things have to add up to 1, so this is just going to be 1 take away whatever that is. So we just write down 1 take away the X. And then on this one, the pass is 0.36, so to fail, this not pass, is going to be 0.64, and that's just 1 take away 0.36. I can now do this little trick of filling in the end, so I've got L times P, so LP there, L and P dash. So L and fail, no lessons, L dash, and passing, no lessons and not passing is going to be there. So I can put those outcomes on, and then to get the end number, you just multiply these together. So 0.57 times X is equal to 0.57X, 0.57X. 0.57 times this thing is 0.57 times by 1 minus X, and we'll just leave it like that. The next one, 0.43 times 0.36, I don't know what that is, but I'll use the calculator. So I've got 0.43 times 0.36, and that turns out to be this number, 0.1548. And then the last one is 0.43 times 0.64, and I've randomly got 0.2752. Okay, so there's my thing. The trick for sorting these questions out is always to put the outcomes on and then multiply them along the line to get the end probabilities. These are the probabilities of these things happening. Okay. Then I can go to the question. So it says, what's the probability of getting no lessons and passing? Well, that's going to be no lessons and passing is there, so that's 0.1548. What's the probability of getting no lessons and not passing? So that's this one, 0.2752. And the last question says, what's the probability of failing? So the fail. So the failing is lessons and fail, says lesson and fail, and this is no lessons and still fail. So it's these two just added together. So I'm going to have that one is equal to 0.571 minus X, whatever that means, plus, and then that one 0.2752. And if I look down my options, it looks like that's the last option for me. So I'm going to just tick off the last box. Okay. The two things on filling in tree diagrams, so just recapping. Number one, for dependent events, you have to know where you are in the branch and how that's going to affect how many things you've got in your pocket or whatever. So make sure you understand what's going on, where you are at each particular time. And then the other bit, the top tip, I guess, is do these last bits, because if you do these last two bits, which is fairly straightforward, these bits just fall out straight away. So it's just go along the branch, QQ, write that down, and then multiply these things together to get your final probabilities. And the best way to multiply them is just do top times top, write it down, then do bottom times bottom, write it down. Okay, and then these will all be the same. This is a really, really useful technique. I tell this to people all the time. People don't do it, people get it wrong, people do it, people get it right. It's just easy to get right if you do that bit at the end. Okay, I hope you found that helpful. Good luck with yours. If it has been helpful, hit like and tell people about it, subscribe, all that sort of malarkey. Bye now.